So my name is Yunus, and I had created this WhatsApp group 3 years ago. The idea was to help out our community in terms of finding out some jobs which are hidden and are only shared by the recruiters, and then publish them in a WhatsApp group. It's been 3 years that I've been doing it, and I've been constantly thinking how to further improve upon. So there were many ideas that I have that I want to implement. And this is one of the ideas that I was thinking that we would implement. It's a success story as a title, as it suggests that we're going to bring people, those who are successful in their careers. They came to Canada some time ago. They build their life. They find out what are the ways to propel themselves in professional lives and achieve some success. So the idea is to reflect upon their career path or find out some jewels and pearls. Those becomes insights for our younger audience. And when they are progressing or they're struggling in their life to succeed through career, they can understand and think that, okay, maybe sometimes people are trying really hard, but no success. So the reason maybe they're trying to struggle in a wrong direction, that their direction is not right. The other part that I was concerned is basically when I came to Canada, I had no support. I was just by myself. I didn't have anybody that I could take I could make as a mentor, or I could, learn something from them. And I'd been through some tough time. Thank to God that over the time I learned, and then I'd be able to make my career. And then now I want to think that I'm thinking that, there's a time to give it back to the community. And I'm really grateful to Mahesh. Mahesh has graciously supportive of the idea of this success story and was very excited to be part of it. And I like to thank to him. So that's about me. That's my introduction. And now over to Mahesh. Mahesh, if you could just introduce yourself, your little background, which industry you belong to, where do you work? That'd be great to start with this interview.
Sure. Thank you, Yunus Bhai. I appreciate sharing and your experience, as well as the initiative, the rationale behind this initiative. It's If we find some difficulties, we need to make it better for our communities and the young ones, so that they don't have to spend the same time in dealing with the failures. It's a really great initiative. Thank you, Yunus Bhai. Myself, it has been 20 years being in Canada. I came with my family in the year 2000. While before 2000, I had about 9 year experience in India, in Punjab, in Industrial Research and Development Center. My background is in mechanical engineering. All my bachelor, masters, and PhD degree, they are in mechanical engineering. And in 20 years being in Canada, first 3 years I spent in Montreal and New Brunswick, and then the next 17 years in Alberta. So I'm a professional engineer. I got my iron ring from APEGA in 2005. After that, I came back into engineering stream. So that's overall. I have two children grown up. They are young adults, 29-year, my son, and 25-year-old, my daughter. So maybe during the conversation, I'll share the challenges which we feel about the education of our children also, although you may not have that grown-up children, but I'm sure you'll be coming up to that phase also when you have to deal with the career of your children also. I'll give a little bit tips on that, how we manage that. That's overall my background, with the 30 years of experience coming from India, 20 years in Canada. I'm a professional engineer, and the last 17, 18 years being in oil and gas. Back to Yunus. Yeah.
Thanks, Mahesh. It was really good. So we're going to start with basically, when did you come to Canada? and what was your initial impression was, and when you try to sort of initiate your career, what was your learning and how that period looked like to you? It was a brand new country. When we come to Canada from Pakistan or India, it's entirely a different culture. It's a different work environment. Would you be able to reflect back uh, in few bullet points? What was it look like that time?
Sure. Yeah, no, that's really good. This is a kind of thing people will be finding who are just coming now, or it has been a couple of years. So when I came, as per the advice from my other friends and far off relatives, they recommended me to come alone. Although the whole family of mine, my wife, children, they had PR, permanent residency, but they advised me that when we are looking for searching for job, your attention get diverted. So I came in the month of April. That's also another piece of advice they gave me. Don't come in the start of the winter because it will be a new experience for me. So they advised me to make best use of the months I'm here. So I came in April. However, my family came in month of August. So that I was fully focused on finding the job. So now the challenge is came alone so that I can focus. And first challenge, which we find that we need to update our resume, our CV. So that you have to, we are in a habit of putting some details like personal details, date of birth, some picture in our resume, the way we used to do it in India or Pakistan. However, we need to make it sure that all those personal details, whether you are married or children, those are not required. So uh, I joined a club, they call it a JFC, job finding club. Nowadays there are so many different type of clubs or which help new immigrant services through immigrant services. They will help you fine tune your resume according to the market. And also they're really good. Even 20 years ago, they will prepare for your interview, they will record your video, and after that they will tell you, what went well, what you need to work on when you are going for interview. So job finding club was very helpful in Hamilton, Ontario, greater Toronto area. So that was the one hurdle which I crossed, how to make your resume latest. I started getting interviews. However, nobody was making the final cut. Like final cut means the final offer. So the challenge I realized, sometimes you have a overqualification and people get scared that once they hire you, very soon they will be challenged and all that. I don't know what kind of a psychological factor was there. However, I didn't get an offer in Greater Toronto area. So the solution, I will jump so that you can look into that kind of a possible scenario too. So what I did, I was focused, as I mentioned, I started attending technical conferences. So I had just $2,000 per person. I came here with $8,000, 4 members, $8,000. That was a permissible amount at that time. So I was spending money very cautiously. I took a gamble or risk, you can say. I spent about $750 to attend a 3-day conference or workshop on alternate fuels or transportation fuels in my area. And I was given permission to keep 50 copies of my resume on a table during coffee time or lunchtime so that I can have some sort of, one-on-one networking with the people who are attending that the kind of a permission I was given by the organizers. The key thing is not only having a copy of a resume during coffee time or lunchtime to share with people. The key thing is to ask good question to the presenter. So when I asked question, that person came to me and then he asked me about what I'm doing, what I'm working on. That's how that gentleman invited me to Montreal through his president. And they invited me to come for interview. This is how I got first break in Montreal as a manager business development in Engine System Development Center. So that's the kind of a business development. So I spent 1.5 years over there, and the projects we were dealing with, the CP Rail. Yunus Bhai has put the slide here. Second last bullet, our customers or sponsors were from Ottawa National Research Council, and our clients were CP Rail, Transport Canada. That's how we did the projects, because this was in my line of research. And after doing 1.5 years, I wanted to go to a bigger company so that I may have a little bit more stability. That's how I used my experience in Montreal, moved on to Florenceville with the McCain Foods in their global technology center as a business analyst. Now, you may be thinking, I'm a mechanical engineer. I'm making a switch in McCain Foods. And McCain Foods and mechanical engineering, you may find that there is very little relevance. But I was I was focusing on survival. And at the time, I was diversifying myself so that I can continue and survive and revive myself. So I took the role of business analyst. In that role, I was working with, on one side, with the IT people, and on another side, I was working with the McCain plant people, so that both can appreciate the value of IT and its usage in the McCain plants. So within 3 months, they started liking my role, and they started sending me into UK plants and the USA McCain plants. And within 6 months, they started a new steering team for mentorship, for education of different business analysts. I was one of the steering team member to educate different business analysts how to make IT softwares more useful to get higher efficiency or higher productivity from the McCain plants. So these 3 years, I did business development and business analysis. And with that, one of my Canadian friends, he moved to Husky Energy in Alberta, Saskatchewan border. Lloydminster is a city which has a border to Alberta, Saskatchewan. He knew about my statistical, analytical skills, and he started giving me offers that, there are good positions in Husky. Why don't you come over there? That's how I made a switch to Husky Energy in oil and gas. So that's the beginning of my career over there. Yunus Bhai is showing.
Mahesh,
Yes,
if I
please.
don't mind asking questions. So, how did you feel when you were a professional engineer and you were thinking that you had certain number of years of experience when you started doing business development? How that felt to you, and then and why did you, in your mind, what was going on when you accepted the business development position?
Yeah, that's really good. You know how I made a switch. Even in India, when I was working research center, Yunus Bhai, the problem even in India was, if you keep your research just for the purpose of research and publishing papers and journals, but you don't take the feedback from the end user that how this research product will be applicable to the end user. Because I was working in industrial R&D center, the emphasis on papers was not so much as compared to the customer feedback, how the product will be useful. So I was always in that kind of a mindset. That's how we had a very healthy competition. That's how my projects were getting more awards, because I was listening to the end users. And with that kind of thing, even I was made again a member of the steering team, even in India, to help other 25 research engineers, whether that was my field or not. For example, I was in energy systems. While I was advising about the commercial angle to material science, chemical, biochemical, mechanics, and computers, although I didn't know anything about that. So basically, I developed, even in India, a natural flair to make sure that R&D projects, they have some sort of a commercial angle, like how end user will be making their life better than when they didn't use the project. So once they start using our project or product, they need to see the difference, how we are differentiating before and after. So that kind of a mindset developed a kind of a natural business development sense in me. So even in Montreal, when I was a manager business development, I had to meet National Research Council, visit Calgary to CP Rail, basically making them aware what are the strengths of our people, of our group. so that they can make the best use of the strengths of our people. So I led basically project management as well as business development, even in Montreal and also in McCain Foods. So that kind of a confidence came, whether it's a product A or B, whether it's a foods or a CN rail or CP rail. So that thing was helping me to get the end result, basically listening to the customer.
Great. Thank you for asking that. So then after working at the R&D center and or at the business development manager position, and you were offered a job at Husky, you were, please carry on. I interrupted you there.
Sure. Even in Husky, to use my analytical skill, I used them as a inventory management coordinator. In your group, I mentioned a teaser kind of thing that in this interview you'll be learning about how to reinvent our different versions similar to iPhone. So that was my first version in Husky, although it was in my overall experience 30 years. I think if I count the position titles, this will be my 14th title now. So you can see that in 30 years of experience, roughly about 2 years in one position title. That's what I call my reinventing from one version into another version. So in Husky, in 16 years, I had about 8 position titles. So you can assume that I had 8 versions in 16 years of experience in Husky. So I joined as an inventory management coordinator.
Which year was that, Mahesh?
Sorry?
Which year was that?
It was a 2003.
2003. Okay.
2003, yeah. So first 3 years, 1.5 in Montreal, 1.5 year in New Brunswick, Florenceville, joined Husky in 2003 as inventory management coordinator and helped the management to get the best value out of SAP modules. You know, the big companies, they use mainly enterprise software like either SAP or Maximo. So those are the kind of software they use. So I made sure they get good value from SAP software. So that gave me confidence after talking with my supervisor, making sure I'm adding value to what I'm working on. And then I shared a wish list with my supervisor. Given a chance, I would like to move on to engineering roles. That's how in 2005, I got my qualifications evaluated and got my PEng from APEGA and got my iron ring. Then onwards, I started getting professional engineers roles in Husky. For example, in maintenance and reliability team lead, production enhancement. When 2008 or 2009 time in Alberta, we found that oil price was going $140 per barrel. Then within 6 months, it came down to $35 per barrel. So when $140 per barrel, my management gave me production enhancement tool, because now you can, it's a break-even point is you can afford taking risk, because oil is whatever money you spend, you will get your money back sooner. So $140 per barrel. I was given 2 consultants and 3 engineers to lead a team, production enhancement, to produce extra volume of oil with this much of $1 million. We did successfully. All of a sudden, the price came down. Management wanted to start innovation process. So I was again one of the 2 founder members of innovation team to get ideas from operators with power engineering background, maintenance people, procurement people, all across the board, to get ideas and implement faster to reduce the operating cost, because now the margin scene changed from $140 barrel to $35 per barrel. We needed to bring the upper operating cost drastically down. So that's a kind of a challenge. Management word goes around. What kind of things you get done, word goes around. That's how I used to get different position titles. And after 8 years, 2011 or so, I moved to Calgary with the position title reliability engineer for oil sand projects in Fort Mac. That's how I came back to Calgary. And since 2011, I've been in Calgary, dealing different position titles.
So my reflection to your career path is, if you target a company big company that you want to work. So even it's a smaller position that you are offered, take it, because then your potential is to grow in it is immense, huge potential that you have, that you, provided that you are capable, you are have certain skill set that you can, sort of utilize to develop upon your presence in the company, and then you develop some relationships with the company managers and other departments, and see where you can grow, and then you sort of have uh, uh, tremendous opportunities in front of you to propel yourself further on.
No, very rightly, Yunus bhai, that as you may have seen, as mentioned, that inventory management coordinator, all these different titles, I never knew about that. The thing which I mentioned, learning, even while you are working, you have to continuously improve and continuously learn about the company where you are working. 5,000 people in Husky Energy. I was in upstream, and integrated portfolio in an oil company. They will have upstream, midstream, and midstream and downstream. They are nowadays, they merge them. For example, upgrade a refinery and the gas station. Some companies, they merge them and they call it downstream. While there are three streams in oil and gas, most of the time I spent in upstream, where you produce the oil from the wells or oil sands. That's where I worked mainly. However, always be conscious about how your role will be adding value to the bottom line, how you will be reducing the operating cost, how you will be increasing the safety. In oil and gas or any sector, you go there, the top three key indicators for the companies will be: safety will be paramount, always, whether it's a occupational safety or process safety. Second thing will be operating cost per unit, the product you are producing. And on operating cost, the third thing will be the amount, the production volume. So those things, whether you produce more with your skill set, or you reduce the operating cost, or you contribute towards making your company more safer, these are the three high level indicators. So make sure the KPIs of your role, they are directly linked with the top three indicators. That will satisfy, you will feel satisfaction how you are contributing to the company's growth. So
That's great. I think we, in the interest of time, maybe we'll jump on to, in your experience, what did you find were helpful, or what are the multiple job tools that you utilize, and what do you recommend?
sure. Nowadays, the topmost is certainly LinkedIn. That's a hot topic, hot tool. LinkedIn, especially in the last 1.5 years in the COVID timing, it has got the maximum popularity to extend the networking, because we are limited in seeing people one on one over the coffee or the lunchtime. So LinkedIn networking is the topmost tool. And virtual technical forum conferences, I already mentioned, this was the technical forum was the kind of a foundation stone of my career in Canada. As soon as the situation improves after 2 doses of vaccine, I will encourage people to attend as many as lunch and learn conferences. Even I volunteered for 7 years in Society of Petroleum Engineers. I joined them as a lunch and learn coordinator. Later on, I became chairman of a Lloydminster Section of Society of Petroleum Engineers. So make your visibility in your technical area by doing some volunteer role, by asking question. If you don't volunteer, attend those sessions, ask question, make sure that people know that you are curious, and participate by asking good question, and also creating some sort of a win-win scenario, so that other person is also winning by suggestion, and you work and you collaborate on that. And networking will certainly work. You can see the word work is there. It will work. Main thing is you
Good
need to
point.
be quite active in network. Similar, the thing which I mentioned in that, teaser learning, earning is already a part, earning is embedded in learning. Keep on continuous improvement functions, whether it's a training course or a improvement version, because you will be earning more, whether it's a money or whether you earn the good friends, good teamwork, you will be earning something in learning. Similarly, networking, even I was with Husky for 16 years, but Yunus Bhai mentioned that even in big companies, we have to do internal networking. It's not easy even to move within a company. I survived 3 recessions in Husky in 16 years experience. And ultimately, I got early retirement when I turned 55. Maybe at the end, I'll share, even I'm not taking early retirement as a retirement. Even now, I'm doing something so that, I can spend next 10, 15 years with a good quality time. And addressing these multiple tools. So we worked on, we checked the LinkedIn, importance of LinkedIn, technical forums, meeting, volunteer non-profit societies. Even in Calgary, I volunteer every month with CCIS. That's a Calgary Catholic Immigrant Services. APEGA is a professional provincial professional engineering and geologist association. SP is the Society of Petroleum Engineers. In case your field is accounting or business development, I will encourage, find your own niche into that society and volunteer there, get association with that, and attend lunch and learn, and try to find out hidden market. When I say hidden market, means sometimes the jobs are not posted, but when you connect on LinkedIn, you talk person, you basically create your own job specification. You create by talking about your strengths, what you have achieved. You create basically your own job market. So that's a hidden market. So you create your own job.
Okay, I think you mentioned networking. The phrase was that it has working in it. That makes me think that how important networking is. So can you sort of expand this point? The key ingredient. What are the mantra there? Like key elements that when people trying to network, they keep in their conscious mind, and how they take advantage of networking actually.
Sure. Yeah. So the key ingredient is to know, the person with whom or the company with whom you are going to have some sort of a relation. Check on nowadays, information is easily available on internet. So for that company, I will encourage, go into the investor relation, check their quarterly reports, how the company's health is doing, make your question accordingly. If they mention that in the next 5 years, in their strategic vision, where the company is going into the next 5 years, suppose you have some sort of a skill set, so you can make that company's strategic vision more convenient. So you need to associate your question, how you can contribute towards meeting that vision of that company. Similarly, if you are suppose nowadays you find that with the invent of artificial intelligence, machine learning, you will find data scientist position everywhere. But data scientist, it's very generic term. So then you need to expand it further, or you can say drill it down further. In data sciences, what kind of a data you can interpret and help in better analysis. So talk about that. Ask a question about open-ended question. What do you think this kind of data, how you are utilizing this information for the benefit of your company? So don't ask directly, I need a job. What kind of a position you have? No, you need to see, you emphasize or you beat the drum of your strength. You have done this, how it can be transferred, how that knowledge can be transferred into their vision, what you have already done the homework on that, information from the investor relations.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great, Mahesh. I think this slide is very intriguing. Survive, revive, and thrive. I like the rhymes, and I think I like the continuation as well. Maybe if you could expand on that, what exactly it tries to tell the listener what it is basically.
Sure. Yeah, survive, by is when we come here. From my example, as you mentioned, you asked me how it was a feeling, switching from research to McCain Foods. Actually, that was my survival mode. So once I became, confident, next level of confident, I found I am gaining Canadian experience, and people are getting value out of my skills. So I was basically adding value, as I mentioned, from safety point of view or higher production point of view or reducing the losses in McCain Food. So I was surviving, but at the same time, wherever I was working, I was making sure some value is being added to that company's goal. And whether the value addition is, I mentioned the third bullet is very important. Wherever you work, you need to see the life cycle of the product you are working with. So in that life cycle of the product, whether you can impact on time, whether you impact on cost, whether you impact on the productivity. So all these parameters, they help management, whether it's cost or time. Saving time doing anything is also reflecting basically dollar value. Whatever lesson learned, make it a kind of a paragraph, share it with the people so that they don't repeat those mistakes. So make a kind of an inventory of lesson learned and continuous improvement. I already mentioned a lot, this is a part of your learning. Second thing is really good, your brand, competencies, and skills. So, as I mentioned, different version of myself. I didn't spend my time becoming a specialist. Even if you ask me now, Mahesh, what you are specialized on. Although I have done Ph.D. in internal combustion engines, but internal combustion engine is not my specialization. It's not my brand. My brand is being strategic, being innovative, being learner. That has become actually my brand now. Even in Husky management, they had a kind of a survey by Gallup's. Nowadays there's so much polls and research go on, advanced polling, after polling. Even Husky, we had a Gallup strength finding poll in management. So because even management wanted to know what are the strengths of the managers. So in my management role, we went through that survey. Ultimately, these five strengths which came out of that survey was strategic, innovator, learner, and the fourth, which is not mentioned here, was a positivity. This is what from positivity I will say, your blood group being positive doesn't make sure that you always will be positive. We are human beings. We get stress, we get tension, we get negativity. So having a blood group of a positive doesn't ensure that you will be positive all the
That's
time.
that's a really
So
good point. I have done MBA, so I have some business background, and I don't think so. A lot many people think about from this standpoint because the brand is basically what you are synonymous of. So when they think about Mahesh, they should think that he's innovative, he's strategic, he's going to add value, and then he is going to make things happen. So when people have impression of you like this, it's hard to believe that they wouldn't hire you. It's hard to believe that they would not put you in a race where you might be competing with other, but you would have some edge and some significant highlights that could make you a winning candidate. So it's really great. What about this win-win scenario? What is it, Mahesh?
yeah, normally, Yunus, why people come with two wins, win-win. But I came up with the three wins scenario. First win, always, whether you are networking, think about the other person or the hiring company, how you will make them win, how you will be adding value from your brand. So I'm trying to relate the previous two bullets, how you will be adding value, how they will get better efficiency by using your brand. So that's the first win for hiring company. Second win is for the bigger cause. Nowadays, you are hearing a lot about climate change, environment, society, community. Actually, the full form nowadays from this year, you will hear even more. That is called ESG, environment, social responsibility, and G is for corporate governance. More and more after this COVID thing, now you will be hearing from companies what they are doing, what are the ESG metrics. Actually, in month of March, I gave a webinar and it was attended by 65 people. I gave this topic, energy optimization, how energy optimization will be contributing towards the ESG metrics betterment, how ESG metrics will be improved if we optimize energy. So third win was basically, you think about the first win was for the hiring company, second win for about community ESG parameter, third win by default, you won't have to do anything, you will be winning yourself.
Great. That's brilliant. I think it's very eye-opening, Mahesh. It's very good to think uh, from this side, so that how you are winning. So you're not the only one who's winning. You need to think about who else is winning too with your winning. Okay, so we got about 7, 8 minutes left. So maybe we'll jump on to the conclusion. And maybe if Kuljit any questions, so he's the only one left now. So, but we'll see if he has any question. Okay, all right, Mahesh. So we'll jump on to the conclusion.
Yeah, no, coming to final words, I mentioned in the beginning, Yusufbhai, that we get some challenges about the children education over here. And my son, in India, Pakistan, we emphasize quite a lot being engineer or doctor. So that kind of thing was a common thing was there with my wife and me. Okay, our son may become engineer. He went there, but he changed his mind. He wanted to become accountant. So I encouraged, told my wife, let him do what he wants to do. So with perseverance, with the patience, he became an accountant and then he did chartered accounting. So he's doing really well in his CPA. Similarly, with the daughter, we used a different strategy. Rather than we telling her which career option she may do, I organized 20-minute interview of my daughter with different professionals in Husky, in my company. 20 minutes with the geologist, 20 minutes with the engineer, 20 minutes with the accountant, different professions, and with the female even of different age group. And I didn't sit down in that interview so that she can ask questions, she can listen to the feedback from those. After that, she can decide what she would like to become or what she would like to pursue in university. And she chose going into geology line. That's
really
how.
great. It's a great idea. It's a great idea. I think it's being parents need to think about the strategies that we could tap what our kids want to do rather than forcing them to become an engineer because the father is an engineer or because the mother is doctor. So then the daughter has to be a doctor. So it's a great point. I'll let you finish, please, Mahesh.
Sure. Yeah. So as I mentioned, even your blood group may be A negative or B negative. Keep positive attitude. I'm emphasizing again on positive attitude. Things will turn out. Time will change. Even COVID-19, this situation will change. It's not going to be there forever. So take care of your health. Do some exercise and keep patience, perseverance, and follow some principle and ethics. Don't do any unethical things and don't be positive on the COVID. So that's the thing, you need to be negative. One thing, closing, I will share that even in your car, when you see the rear mirror, that's a smaller one, while looking forward is a bigger screen. So don't look too much on the past. Try to see the things in the future, and future will be very bright. And on the future thing, I will say the important parameter analogy I will use is training wheels. I remember when my daughter, when she was 4 or 5 years old in Lloydminster, she was learning to ride on a bike. And being a parent, we didn't want that she should fall on either side to get injured. And then young boy, he saw she's a struggling. He came and he told my daughter, "Oh, you can do without training wheels. I done that. I have done that, and I enjoyed that."
Yeah.
So basically, don't lose hope.
Confidence. Keep
These
confidence and faith.
these these channels, basically, we are not giving you a kind of a training wheel to come on that. This is just to share our story, our experience, so that this gives you more energy. Yunus Bhai came up with a nice tagline. It's we are basically, sharing our experience to the youth, so that you are feeling energetic. You are
Positive.
moving towards a better future. And for better future, find out a good coach or mentor, and do some basically stepwise, some sort of a plan, that this is my first step, second step, third step. Easily you will not only survive, you won't even revive. I'm sure you will thrive, and you will be creating win-win-win situation for everyone.
Great. Kuljit, Jabin, do you have any question for Mahesh before we close this call? There's about 3 minutes left, so
Yes, I do have a question for
go ahead,
Mahesh.
please.
First of all, Mahesh, thank you very much for this fantastic talk.
Yeah.
My question, as I already have PhD and doing my postdoctorate at University of Calgary, and I also did a couple of industrial projects as well. So there are two kind of job markets. One is academia job market, and other is industrial job market. So
Mhm.
how to bridge that gap? Because when we are in the academia job market, the skill set, the CV is quite different
Yeah.
from the industry.
Yeah.
So how to market that those accomplishments in academia for getting first industrial job?
Getting first, and again, Kuljit, I will reinforce the value addition component. So when you go for academia job, over the value addition is accounted by the key performance indicators are your publications, how much teaching, how much class teaching is there, what's the feedback of the students. So those are the performance indicators if you are in academia. So now you need to see whether academia, are you using it for surviving mode or reviving mode, or you want to thrive in that. So that's the difference you need to create. Now, if you are not liking the academia, you want to come out of academia and go into the industrial thing, then you will have to think about different set of key performance indicators. For industry, the value addition is in a different way. They are not looking on how many papers you published. They will see, as I mentioned in one of the earlier method, you need to do some research on that industry. What is their vision? What is their next 3 to 5 year plan? And in that plan, how your academic skill set will be contributing, whether you can reduce their cycle time, or you can increase their productivity with the same resources, or you can reduce their operating cost by using your skill set.
Thanks, Mahesh.
So,
We will leave it here. We don't
yeah.
have time because I think I'm going to cut off here. I only got 45 minutes for this call. Javeen, if you have any questions, you can ask me through WhatsApp, or if you want to connect with Mahesh, you can connect through me. But thank you very much, Mahesh. I think you did a brilliant job. I was really sort of nervous in the beginning that, how did it go? This is my first attempt to do more for our engineers and for our community. I would say I can't thank you enough for your time and your valuable inputs. I wish there were other people, those who could join, but I'm going to share this through link through WhatsApp or YouTube. So I just wanted to thank everyone, and I think we're going to continue on periodic basis to bring some nice people, those who can share their experience and help the community. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good evening.